there, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokumlemle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including A1 Radio in Bolgatanga, Kekeli FM in Ho, and Sunshine FM in Boko. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, Super Sem Cements, Build Your Dream, and Telesol 4G, Just a Touch. In this edition, should there be a dress code to prevent sexual harassment or not? Lecturers at the University of Ghana divided over the matter as a psychologist claims he and his colleagues suffer unfairly due to poor costume decisions by some students.
The way some of us dress can be highly provocative. Simply put, the way we dress can be a risk factor to some of the challenges organizations are having to deal with these things.
But Director of CDD H. Kwesi Prempeh says dressing can never be an excuse for sexual harassment.
It doesn't give the teacher an excuse to carry on to do some other stuff and say, oh, she provoked me and therefore I went ahead and had this affair with her. That is where we draw the line. Sexual harassment is never a defense or an excuse.
We have details also. She lost 2 pregnancies and has now joined the campaign to have the bumpy road blamed for her situation fixed. Women in the Accra suburb of Amrahia sending a message to her MCE to build her community roads.
This one, I had to stay in the hospital throughout till I gave birth. Because the bumps, you'll be bumping all the way to the junction.
I mean, that is what I've decided to do. No politician should even come here to come and even campaign. Because when you come out, pour water on you. Yes.
We'll hear from the Adenta MC, who is unable to tell when the projects will be completed. That's coming up in our series, Joy in Your Community. NACOB achieves intended target 1 year after it was instituted to create temporary jobs for graduates.
Many more employment opportunities will be generated through what we collectively aspire to achieve and the steps currently being taken.
We'll hear from President Akufo-Addo as he directs public sector to consider beneficiaries or NACOB beneficiaries as their first choice. NAPCO, I beg your pardon. We have sports.
Former Ghana Football Association Chairman Dr. Nyahu Tamaklo cautions wisely who leads the FA ahead of next week polls.
And later, retired military officer calls on government to come clear in the wake of accusations and denials by opposition NDC and governing NPP on training of NPP loyalists at Esuchare to disrupt the 2020 polls. We have all that and more coming up here on the Midday News. We settle for details now. And over the past few weeks, there's been a heated debate about whether dress codes should be prescribed for students, as some suggest it is a trigger for sexual harassment. Well, today, lecturers have been engaging each other in an intellectual debate. A lecturer at the University of Ghana Psychology Department, Dr. Collins Beduajiman, noted that dressing styles on campuses are too provocative. He believes that lecturers suffer unfairly due to poor costume decisions by some students.
When the new students their dressing is modest. Now, second year in a crescendo manner. Third year. So first year they begin to learn from the third years and the final years. You are aware of what I'm talking about. Our heart jump when we talk of sexual harassment to these particular aspects. But the hostile environment, we all go through them.
What exactly do you go through?
How people dressed, revealing provocative, seductive dresses. We may disagree, but the point is, can't we argue out the way some of us dress can be highly provocative?
And stick to what it is.
All right. So, simply put,
yes,
the way we dress can be a risk factor to some of the challenges organizations are having to deal with these things.
But in a sharp contrast, Executive Director of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh says the attack can never be a justification of sexual harassment.
We should tread a bit, I won't say cautiously, but we shouldn't really rule out things so easily. So we can say for sure that sexual harassment is never a defense or an excuse for misconduct. So you cannot say, well, because I was sexually harassed or felt sexually harassed by student A, I did conduct B, right? So it is not a defense, nor is it an excuse for your own misconduct. We should not say that a particular kind of conduct can never be sexual harassment, because a lot of this is actually context specific. So this issue comes up a lot when it comes to dressing. And the reason why I hesitate to say dressing can never constitute sexual harassment is that we have to know the factual circumstance. So it doesn't give the teacher an excuse to carry on to do some other stuff and say, oh, she provoked me and therefore I went ahead and had this affair with her or propositioned her or made advances. That is where we draw the line. Sexual harassment is never a defense or an excuse.
Professor H. Krempe there, but one thing that came out strongly at the seminar was the revelation by a physician and clinical psychologist, Dr. Amachewa, who says although hardly talked about, men and boys suffer from sexual harassment from female lecturers. She shared a story.
A friend of mine ended up being because his girlfriend was being harassed by a lecturer, and the lecturer said, I'm not interested, I have a boyfriend. He didn't mention the boy thing. Unfortunately for him, one time, they were out laughing, holding hands, and the lecturer saw. And this was a brilliant student. And he failed. Well, but this guy, the part of it, the girl had resisted and had said, I'm not interested, and I have a friend, a boyfriend, he's a student, and the lecturer was like, what kind of medical student you give, blah, blah, blah. The point is, there are people who are quickly cutting. So you see, the boys who think sexual harassment is a girl's issue.
Meanwhile, we know that Professor Ransford Jampo and Dr. Paul Butako has been interdicted and are going to be investigated by a committee that was set up. Guess what? The 7-member committee tasked to investigate the accusations of sexual harassment raised in the BBC Africa Eye documentary Sex for Grace has since been suspended. There's more in this News Desk report.
Even before setting up the 7-member committee, the chairperson of the Anti-Sexual Harassment Committee, Dr. Margaret Amwakwene, invited more victims to speak up. Another member of the committee, Professor Akosua Dumaku Ampofo, assured them of protection.
People out there who are experiencing sexual harassment should come forward with their complaint, and then we can take it forward. I would like to say that confidentiality is assured at the University of Ghana. Protection is assured. They should come forward and we will assist them.
The 7-member committee, chaired by the retired Supreme Court judge, met on Wednesday. After their first meeting, they concluded their work could be challenged because there was no complainant. Joy News is learning that the Vice-Chancellor has therefore constituted a fact-finding committee to look into the issue. The 5-member fact-finding committee will subsequently present their report to the Anti-Sexual Harassment Committee for onward submission and action by the Vice-Chancellor, who has assured the issue will be dealt with.
It has raised us awareness of what is happening in institutions in the nation. And I think it's time that we all get together and make sure that we can curb it.
We cross over now to the University of Ghana, where my colleague PSA Nanaya Safo is covering that sexual harassment seminar. PSA, we've heard from the lecturers on their experiences, and also they've been divided on whether there should be uniform on campuses or not. What are the students telling you about this?
Well, MSI has been quite interesting, an interesting morning here at the University of Ghana campus, as most of the students, most of them from the pharmacy department, were giggling out loudly as the lectures were giving some of the divisions and in fact their views. The students are divided on the front. Some do agree that others, sometimes the ladies in particular, do dress provocatively. Others are of the view that this is preposterous, particularly in 2019. And it's been like an ongoing debate. Many of them who spoke to Joy News told us that they think there is still more to be done as far as sexual harassment is concerned.
But did you get a sense that students are leaving this seminar with a clear mind on what it is when it comes to sexual harassment, what they ought to do and what not to do?
Well, most students in particular were worried about the blame game here, and to quote some of them, they are saying that the lecturers are refusing still to take blame for their role as far as sexual harassment on campus is concerned. They believe that the policy in itself is inadequate as at this time, and that it's about time that the lecturers took up responsibility and stopped blaming them, the students in particular, for it.
You heard there my colleague PSA Nanaya Safo. But while we are in Ghana debating issues of dress codes and sexual harassment, in Zimbabwe, the Gender Commission, the state body in charge of gender issues, has been criticized for proposing that universities introduce a dress code to protect students from sexual harassment. So it appears this debate is certainly an ending, and certainly not the end of our reportage on this issue as well. But away from it, she lost 2 pregnancies, and doctors told her the road leading to her home could have contributed to her predicament. Elsie lives in the Accra suburb of Amrahia, where a busy stretch of road connecting the area to the nearby communities of Katamanso and Ashaiman has become a daily nightmare. It's a dirt, bumpy, undulating road. Residents say requests on the authorities to deal with the spectacle have been ignored. Joy News editor Fifi Kumsen was in the community and has come through with this report.
Amrahia and Malijo are 2 beautiful, fast-growing communities. But throughout this area, there is anger, deep-seated anger. And this is why a dusty patch of dirt road, bumpy and undulating, has been at the center of the discomfort of residents.
I've been here for over 3 years, and the road has been terrible throughout.
Elsie Boachi lives here with her husband.
Because of this road, in fact, I've had 2 miscarriages.
Her doctors advised her to avoid the road.
So this one, I had to stay in the hospital throughout till I gave birth. Because the way it bumps and everything, it wasn't good for me. So.
Doctors told you that it was because of the road that...
Because it bumps. You'll be bumping all the way to the junction, you see. So it wasn't really good for someone like me.
But there is another deadly angle to the story. The poor nature of the road means drivers have to slow down all the time, literally crawl, and that's an advantage for armed robbers who attack moving vehicles at night.
It's very dangerous. After 7, armed robbers are on it. So if you are driving on it and you don't go high speed, you are in trouble.
No lights. Inside the community of Malijo, about 5 kilometers from Amrahia, the situation is not any different. This is a community of very worried people. People worried about the state of the road leading to their homes.
We can't all live in the East Lagos and the Trasacos and the cantonments. So we find ourselves in these areas, and our conditions here are so deplorable.
In fact, it's reached a point some residents have begun moving out of the area.
Financially, emotionally, psychologically, it is affecting each and everyone in this estate. And I tell you for a fact that people are relocating from this estate.
The Joy News team met with a contractor working on the road. Eugene Hammond supervises works for Davem Construction Company.
But we read a certificate so that we can claim the money and continue the road. But it seems financially, things were very difficult for us. That is why things are like that.
No politician should even come here to come and even campaign. Because when you come out, pour water on you. Yes.
Fifi Kumsen's report in our series Joy in Your Community. Recently, government announced the release of funds for some contractors in the country, but the contractor on this project says he was not on that list. NCE for Adentan, Alexander Edumwa, admits work on the Amrahia Katamanso Road has been slow, but says he's pushing to find money for the contractor.
We're hoping that we would have received some money and be able to complete the work. That hasn't happened the way we expected it. We also tried to see what we could do in terms of some of the corporate entities assisting in making sure that he can complete his work so that everybody will get the benefit of the road, and then we'll see about the payment. Unfortunately, some of the things that we've talked about haven't gone there. Sometimes, as they say, it gets bad to get better, except that it's taking a little longer than we all expect. Let us hope that in the next few months, based on what we have heard from last week, that we'll be able to see better results, so that the 3.5 kilometer stretch that you benefit from would also be done so that you be released.
MC for Adentan, Alexander Edumwa, do you want joy in your community? Let us know. Now, President Akufo-Addo has directed public sector to consider as first choice beneficiaries of the Nation Builders Score, NAPCO, for employment when the opportunity comes. The program started last year and will provide a 3-year temporal employment avenues for over 1,000 graduates or 100,000 graduates. A year on, managers of the program say the intended target has been achieved. At a program to review activities so far, President Akufo-Addo says government will sustain the program despite the huge financial implications.
I urge our NABCO trainees to continue to seize the moment and opportunities offered by the scheme to develop themselves. As a trainee, your NABCO story must be one of continual growth. It is our hope that you transition smoothly into a desired career pathway as a result of the value addition being derived from the scheme. Thus far, the NABCO module implementation partners have fulfilled their part of the bargain. I commend them for their partnership of the scheme and will appeal to them to recognize and reward the sacrifice made by trainees. They should be the first to be considered when opportunities for permanent employment come up. Indeed, as the economy of our nation grows rapidly, largely as a result of competent management and appropriate policies, many more employment opportunities will be generated.
President Akufo-Addo, Elton Brobe is our presidential affairs correspondent. He's at that review program and joins us on the line. So, Elton, tell us how many NABCO recruits have been posted into the public sector officially, do we know?
Well, for the 100,000 that were initially recruited onto the program, all of them, most of them are within the public sector, but we have some also serving in the private sector. But so far, according to the president, 11,000 have been given permanent employment in both the private and the public sector. Now, going forward, he directed the public sector. It was not specific as to which category of the public sector to undertake this employment, but was specific to the public sector that in the event that there's an opportunity for permanent employment, they should first look at beneficiaries of the NABCO program as first choice employees before they consider others, because they've been given enough training and exposure to make them fit into the public sector space.
But I don't know if you got the opportunity to interact with these graduates, but if you did, what have they been telling you?
Well, testimonies came from even people who have employed these beneficiaries of the NABCO program. Some say that they completed tertiary school 5, 6, 7 years ago, but this program gave them opportunity to now earn a living, and for that reason they are excited, they are happy with what government has done, and they are working more, even though they would have wished that the program would have no exit plan, because as of now you need to be on the program, and after 3 years you have to exit the program. They are hoping that government plans to expand the economy, they will make it a permanent employment, such that once you enter the program, you will be on until maybe you yourself find that means of employment somewhere.
So you heard the presidential affairs correspondent Elton John Brobe. Now, lawyers for NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo are urging an Accra High Court to strike out an audio recording presented as evidence of crime. Ms. Ofosu-Ampofo and the party's Deputy Communications Officer Anthony Kweku-Boaheng are facing 3 charges over an alleged leak audio detailing strategies the NDC intends to use for the 2020 election, one being the kidnapping of family members of political opponents and security operatives. His lawyers in the application in the court presided over by Justice Samuel Isiedu says his right to privacy has been breached. Joseph Akabley was in court and joins me in studio with details. So, Joseph, what more have the lawyers been saying with regards to the audio recording?
And so the details are in an application that is pending before the court. They say that they have some concerns about how the audio was procured. The individual who recorded it, who we understand may be testifying before the court, they want to find out whether he was present in the meeting, and indeed they are raising issues about the fact that it breaches his rights under the Constitution, and so they want the court to strike out the audio as evidence to be used in the trial.
Okay, so we understand they have also filed another application at the Court of Appeal to halt the ongoing trial at the High Court. Why is that?
Yes, and so earlier they had made an application at the High Court asking that the case be thrown out because they said the case fails to disclose who exactly Mr. Ampofo has assaulted, for which reason he has been brought to court. But the court disagreed with them and threw out that application. They are appealing that Court of Appeal. So they informed the court today that the date is October 23, so the court should put its trial on hold until the Court of Appeal determines the application.
Okay, so another thing though they are seeking to do is to overturn Justice Isiedu's decision. What's their reason?
And so that is what we'll be arguing on October 23. They intend to argue at the Court of Appeal that Justice Samuel Isiedu got it wrong when he ruled that the charges and the documents that have been filed in court, require them to respond to it appropriately, since in their opinion they say that it fails to disclose who exactly Mr. Ampofa assaulted, for which reason he has been charged with assault.
And the next case you say will be heard on October 23?
That will be at the Court of Appeal. Then there's another, the High Court leg returns on November 4.
Okay, and that's my colleague Joseph Akable, who was in court and brought us all the details. Now let's stay a while longer on politics, because in Kumasi today, the New Patriotic Party and the Electoral Commission refused to show up in court to defend themselves against this disgruntled NPP parliamentary aspirant Manaf Ibrahim. This summons comes on the back of party executives' refusal to allow him contest their Sokore Mampo Municipal Chief Executive Ali Seidu to represent the NPP for the Aswasi seat in 2020. Mr. Seidu, who is one of the respondents, also did not show up in court. Lawyer for the former Director of Political Affairs at the presidency, Nana Fidrajiman, says his team will have to go back to show proof of serving Mr. Seidu as the court has ordered. He is confident the court will take appropriate action if the defendants refuse to show up in court on the adjourned date of 31st of October. Now, over the last week, the opposition NDC and governing NPP have been trading accusations and denials over claims the governing party is training its loyalists at a military camp in Suchari to disrupt the 2020 polls. Whilst the NDC insists its check reveal many of the trainees have been deployed in many security agencies, the NPP has emphatically denied any knowledge or participation in what they describe as the opposition party's wild claim. But a retired military officer is asking government to go beyond the denials to put the matter to rest. There's more in this News Desk report.
I remember at the time of Ayawasu West Walk, there was a letter that came out asking some party executives to bring able-bodied people to be trained as security for that party during elections. Since then, we have evidence that those people are being sent to Asuchari and trained in batches.
Former President John Mahama sparked the debate when he first made the claim at a meeting with the Ghana Journalists Association last week. But the allegation was quickly rebutted by the leadership of the governing NPP, which labelled it in a statement as a scare tactic. However, the opposition party was relentless, with its General Secretary, Johnson Asiedun Ketia, insisting there was evidence to back the allegations and challenged the media to verify it.
It is their word against our word. Luckily, if you go there, you can, if they give you access, you can capture whatever is happening there, come and expose us as liars.
But Joy News' attempt to independently verify these claims yielded next to nothing.
We got to the area and realized at the entrance there were barricades. You see no human being except those barricades and the tanks. You go there, there's no one to even talk to except a sign which says, if you have nothing doing, don't do it here.
However, the opposition party maintained the NPP had been training its loyalists, even suggesting some had already been posted to BNI installations in the Bono Ahafo region. Deputy Defense Minister Major Retired Derek Odro insists the operatives were legally recruited and accused the NDC of creating fear and panic among the populace.
It is never true. I have not heard and I have not seen any move by the NPP party to train anybody in any of the military institutions. We have only recruits who are legally enlisted. They are not militias. Nothing is going on.
This does not reassure the NDC, whose Director of Elections, Elvis Efriye Ankra, warned there was increasing pressure from his party activists to arm themselves in the possible event of an attack.
Guys tell me, so what are we going to do? Should we also get ready? Should we also go and look for arms? That is the seriousness. So there is pressure? Of course there is. Of course there is.
As the accusations and denials continue, retired military officer Colonel Festus Abuaje is asking government to come clear on the matter. He warns failure to do so could adversely hamper the elections next year.
I don't think it does settle the matter, not least in the media. There are all sorts of concentric circles and camps and so on. So things could happen in a government apparatus that might not necessarily come to the notice or the full knowledge of the president or whatever it is. But the earlier we sorted this thing out before we embarked on the political campaigning for 2020, the better.
Colonel Retired Festus Abuaje ending that News Desk report. We'll take a quick breather here on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. When we return, police interdicts 3 of its officers believed to have butchered a 33-year-old driver at Drasso, Asante Achim North. We have details when we return.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation. Over the past 45 years, we've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products, and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Kremasa, Ghana, so we correct Mason pa. A Yamikosi super. Me a super Mason and Kasa. Because our job no and better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use believe you. That be why me too. It be only super Sam cement at the use. Cement mu cement. Cement papa. Intere me crying in from because super. Because me the super Sam cement and DVD ra.
Super Sam cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Super Sam Cement. Build your dream. Build.
It's still the news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Benedict Owusu has the latest from the world of sports.
Yes, NMFI is all about the Ghana Football Association elections, and delegates going to elect a new leader for the top job have been advised to choose wisely. Now, there are 6 candidates: George Fiye, Fred Papu, Nana Yao Amponsa, Amanda Clinton, and George Ankama Mensah vying for the top job. Now, with a week to the elections, barring any legal suit, former GFA chairman Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo has this advice for the delegates.
And here I would like to advise that we have to be careful the person we choose as the president of the FA. Let me warn you, because it's very important. If we fail to do that, it won't take long at all, and we shall be back in the same position we were. Almost all those who are competing, I don't know them, apart from Fred Papu. I would like to caution you carefully, especially the delegates we have coming from Accra House of who have got votes to vote. If you cast your vote wrongly, it will cost this nation. What this new FA really needs is somebody with integrity.
So that's Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, former chairman of the Football Association, now a board member of Accra Heartful.
Now let's head to the Ashanti region, and thank you very much, Benedict. The family of a 33-year-old driver allegedly killed by some police officers at Adomfe in the Ashanti region have petitioned the Regional Security Council to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure the culprits are punished. Eyewitnesses say Kofi Ampoma died on Tuesday night after he sustained severe beatings and cutlass wounds during a police swap in the area. Here's Assembly member of the area, Kofi Bwedu, narrating what happened.
We're searching for one Kwesi Kankam, who is a weed seller, and also one Yaya Gushi. When they went to Kwesi Kankam, they didn't hit him, and they broke his door, entered into the room and searched, and they couldn't get anything. They further on went to Yaya Gushi's place. For there, they didn't see her. So when they were returning from that place, they met 2 guys. Immediately they saw them, they arrested them and tried to put them into their vehicle. So they resist. And in the attempt of resisting, they started beating him up. One of them took a machete from the vehicle and struck the back. So the guy became very weak, and they picked him inside the vehicle and sped up.
And the MC for the area also corroborates that story. Nana Asenso joins us. Mensah joins us on the line. We've been told about some interdictions. Tell us about it.
Hello.
Nana Asenso, I'm asking about the interdiction of some police officers. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we just had reports from police that they have interdicted 3 police men who perpetrated this particular act, and their names are General Sergeant Suleiman Seydou and General Corporal Sefadango, and the last one is General Lance Corporal Salifu Yakubu. They are all police personnel in the Santiachim district, precisely in the Konongo division. So this is what we have been receiving from the police intelligence.
Nana Sensumensabe will give you details subsequently, but just before we go, Deputy Communications Minister George Anda has rubbished claims government will be shutting down social media in the days leading to the 2020 elections. Mr. Anda says the rumor, which has been out in some circles recently, is nothing but fake news. He's been speaking at the opening of the 3rd West African Media Conference currently happening here in Accra, and the social media queen is here herself. What's trending on social media?
So Shatta Wale has taken over the Twitter trends. Today is his birthday and people are really celebrating him. Trending at number 1 is hashtag long live Shatta Wale. At Gary Al Smith says, President, People's Man Champion, happy birthday Shatta Wale, hashtag long live Shatta Wale. At script_T says, happy birthday to you, my champion. You just be too great. Pa, long live Shatta Wale. The last one is from at Andrew Zix, who says, God's chosen, God's ordained, God's prophet, God's mouthpiece to the streets. One of Ghana's biggest human resource, second to none. Happy birthday, sir, at Shatta Wale GH. Hashtag long live Shatta Wale.
It may be Shatta Wale's birthday today, but today is Nancy Emefa Dwadosi Day.
Yes, our baller babe.
Officially, we don't care about Papa. But happy birthday, Shatta Wale, as well. But Nancy Emefa Dwadosi, we're celebrating here with the Joy News team. Happy birthday. And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apau.